Time now for another thrilling edition of Adventures in Radioland. This segment, Hasty Decisions number 5, subtitled The Station Fire. Well, as you know, Hasty Decisions series is all about the downside to hasty decisions. So Hasty Decision number 5, The Station Fire, actually begins in 1968 at WFBS Radio in Spring Lake, North Carolina. One of the additional carrots my competitor, General Manager Jerry Oakley, had dangled in front of me at our Come On Over to My Side recruitment luncheon was the opportunity later of becoming group production director for the Radio Smiles broadcast chain of 6 stations. Well, his recruitment luncheon was successful, and after some time working for his station, WFBS, I did in fact become Radio Smiles group production director, but I still did special productions for WFBS, Jerry's station in Spring Lake, North Carolina, which was located about 15 miles away from where I lived. And in my home in Fayetteville, I had my own recording studio radio production facility, which included a VHF remote to station link, so I could transmit my audio productions directly to the station without having to drive all the way there. And another item I had in my home studio was a remote broadcast radio monitor system. It received only the WFBS radio on-air signal, and many times I would have it on just to hear what the guys were up to on the air. Well, long story short, one Saturday morning in February 1969, I was in my home doing some writing and listening to the station, and I became aware that the station had gone quiet. There was no music, no announcer. Well, I thought maybe the station had gone off the air, so I went over to look at the meters on the remote radio monitor, and the meters indicated that the station was still on the air. There was just no audio. This was very unusual. I grabbed my two-way radio hand mic and called for the station control room. No answer. This was extremely unusual. Something definitely was wrong. So I jumped in my car and headed for the station. When I was still a mile or so away, I could see a column of heavy black smoke rising up from the direction of the station. When I got closer, I realized the station was ablaze, with fire trucks all around. The main fire seemed to be right where the control room was. I went to the back of the building. There were 3 or 4 employees there standing, and I asked if they had managed to get any of the equipment out. They said they had not. I knew that after the fire, without any equipment, it would be very difficult to function. I hastily, and I bring attention to that word, I hastily devised a plan. There's that word, hasty. I knew there were 2 production rooms to the back of the building, and that the back door opened into a hallway that separated the 2 production rooms. I thought I could get some equipment out if I went in through the back door, go down the hall a short way, feeling for the studio door on the left, open the door, go forward and slightly to the left. There should be a portable MPEG 605 tape machine sitting on the console. When I got to the door, I felt for heat. It was cool, so I opened it. The hallway was dark and full of smoke. I took a deep breath and headed down the hallway, feeling for the left studio doorway. I found the door. It was cool. I opened the door and took my bearings. I moved into the room, and within a second or two I found the tape deck, unplugged the connecting cables, and started for the door, being very careful to retrace my footsteps exactly. I'd taken only a couple of steps when all of a sudden something spun me around. Unfortunately for me, the chief engineer had recently added an additional ground strap to the machine. When slack ran out, it spun me around. Now I was deep in trouble. I no longer had an exit point of reference. Well, I was still going to try to save the gear. I madly worked the ground strap back and forth where it was attached to the machine. Finally it broke free, and I was headed for the door. But where? I felt along the wall till I did find the door, and with no air left, I hit the hall and was out the back door, holding ever so tightly to that Ampex tape deck. Ah, light and sweet air. Thank you, Lord. Well, this has been another thrilling edition of Adventures in Radioland. Yes, the station fire. A look at how hasty decisions can have very dangerous side effects, especially as it relates to working on or operating electronic equipment. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.